Alright folks, how are you doing? Look, we got all set up out here for making some concrete precast for the underground bunker. Bit windy, I'll try and talk up anyway. So that's it. I think I'm set up. We've got the LT1 installed on the bench. Put a bit more weight on the weights down there. Just built them up with weld a bit. Made some clamps for the bench so the mould can't go anywhere. And I've got some boards cut. We've just got the smallest of the moulds on here at the moment. I figured it'd be best to make mistakes with this so we have less wastage, if indeed there is any wastage. I hope not. That's it. Let's do it. I'll grease the old mixer up, get her fired up, positioned, and then we'll have a go at making a corridor section, or doorway section this is, isn't it? Yeah, alright. I hooked the throttle up to the clutch, check this out. Okay, so this is the first piece we cast. What happened with this? We got a couple of corners knocked off. That's okay. That's right on the end there. That knocked off a little bit at the same time. Not quite so good, but it's not going to ruin the part. One spot where it didn't separate from the mould there. Other than that, it's very nice. Very nice. Yeah, a couple of other little problems that we had a bit of a blowout there, so I'm using parallel pins, and these were screwed into the side pieces of the mould. Yeah, and the idea was I could unscrew them and take the mould off and leave these in until the part had cured. I knew that was going to happen. Unfortunately, this swelled up enough to get it stuck in the wood, meaning that, you know, we had a result like that because the pin came out on the piece of wood. Not major. Again, that's gonna get a bolt going through it, and then I'm gonna fill the holes up with grout before I put the bolt through. The holes are oversized. I'm only going to use M12 bolts when I join this all together, but I wanted oversized holes to allow for any misalignment or anything, you know. So yeah, for the bolt to do its job and prevent any sort of shear movement, it wants grout in there anyway, so I'm not particularly worried about that. But to make things go a little bit smoother, look, that was the aim. These have still got the bits of wood stuck in the side. The door frame castings. Yeah, so I'm going to put a taper on these because these will end up getting stuck in there as well. that was a bit of a nail biter. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong, eh? So I made my mix up way too wet. Never as strong as it when you put a lot of water in it. So I just got that on there to keep the rain off. Nice and flat though. I didn't have this bench completely level, but it is beautifully level now, as you can see. So I mean, that's a slight improvement over the last time. The clutch went wrong on this thing, so because I linked it to the throttle, you know, it just the brake isn't quite fitting in the clutch. So what? Because I've moved it, the table's moved in relation to the belt and the clutch, so that pulley's moved basically. Because I jacked up that end, you see I've got that end on a couple of bits of wood. Yeah, you know, it's like the chaos theory, isn't it? You make one little adjustment over there and lots of weird stuff happens over here, isn't it? Hey, that's easy enough to sort out, but that was why I was buggering around trying to shove that bit of wood under the pedal there. And then what, I just got the mixer, lifted it up to shut it down, and the air filter had spun round a little bit, and that's got damaged now. That's a bit unfortunate, isn't it? Anyway, nothing we can't sort out, so what, I'll can't really take that out. The whole idea of this bench was that I could put really dry mixes in there and turn them out of the mould when once they've been compacted, and you can put a lot more compaction on dry mixes, but what, I had to go a bit steady on this, and also I'm gonna have to wait a day before I demold it now, aren't I?
Had guns in their hands, pointed at the floor, facing out, searching for danger, for targets. They were unsure of exactly what to do, but ready to do.
Okay, so it's very clear what's happened to this one. We had I prepped the mould, started assembling it, so I'd already got the mould release on it, and then we had a little shower of rain, and you know, because I have to assemble the mould with the rebar cage in there, with the oil already applied to the mould itself. And then I don't like, you know, I'm a bit scared of getting the release oil on the rebar cage, because that'll screw everything up, wouldn't it? Like, I didn't want to sort of work around things and towel it off, but that's the result of having the water sat there on the surface of the mould when I poured the concrete. So it's not quite as nice a finish as the first one, but you know, we know now, so I'm going to keep it covered up, you know, especially if it rains. But that's alright. Okay, so we just finished the number 4 small slab, small precast. I'm getting the same problems. I did everything a bit differently on this one, so I what did I do? I had a much drier mix, and well, yeah, that's about it. So I didn't do everything differently. Either way. Oh yeah, and I had everything completely dry. Put the mould oil on, and yeah, there was no rain, so that's not what's causing the surface air bubbles. I'm getting lots of air out of it. I'll make sure I video the next go on the bench, but it's not the best of signs, because if there's air bubbles here, there's air bubbles throughout, as we can see on the side, and you know they're directly linked to the strength of the concrete, I suppose. We've got lots of steel in these. I'm not worried about these. A little bit more important on the other ones. I'll just make the mix even drier, I guess, and which will be easier on the bigger mixes. The next castings are going to require full bag mixes, so this, you know, the more you're mixing, the much easier it is to get your water content right. So you know, I'll use even less. And also, what else? I don't know, that's it really. Alright, let's have a go at the next ones. Okay, so this is the first of the long ones, first of the side pieces, if you will. Came out alright, still got those bubbles, those surface bubbles. Interestingly, it's just in certain areas, isn't it? So, you know, it's beautiful and clean up here on this side. In that trough it's reasonably clean, and then on the other side it's quite spotty. I think what I'm going to try is just blobbing all the concrete in one place in the middle and letting it flow. Yeah, I think that might improve things. At least it's worth a try, because right now my current technique has just been to throw as much as I can in, then vibrate it, let that settle, and then throw another lot in. Yeah. Anyway, this was in here 2 days, so I didn't get a chance to put it out yesterday, which made me a bit nervous, because the first time we used this mould, wasn't sure if there's anything that I've missed that's going to grab it. It seemed to fall out alright, and we've got some pretty big shears on this one. You know, as them plates are just whoosh, straight up, but this is flexible enough because the length that it came out okay, and being 2 days old now, I felt okay about just putting it straight onto bearers rather than having it supported the whole way along. Yeah. Okay, so I'd spent a bit of time cleaning the steel portion of the mould up in between that one and this one, and it is actually harder to pull it off. But I think that's because there was so much dust and crap still left on that. Yeah, and as you can see, there's still a bit of rusty crap on this one as well, but not so bad as that. Yeah, I'm just going. I mean, this is after 2 days. I'm really nervous about moving these ones straight away, just in case I put a big crack in them, or worse, put a little crack in it and don't realise. Okay, so we're making progress on the surface finish here. I put a fraction of the amount of plasticizer. What are we calling that washing up liquid? Yeah, I suppose it's plasticizer, isn't it? Yeah, used. I had been using the maximum specified amount, and I cut it down by about half. It's still in the recommended range, but and I put the same amount of water in as I had been with those, although that's a bit iffy at the moment because all my sand's dry and wet, and it depends when I take it out of the bag. So it's quite hard to judge water content at the moment. But as far as what I added, it was the same as them. So I ended up with a drier mix that seemed harder to work, but it still settled out okay in the bench with the vibrators going. Okay, so we've just started dipping below zero now. What is it? Beginning of December, really. You see the house has got lots of frosticles on the roof. We're not getting water freeze. They're still liquid, but it's problematic for concrete, obviously. So let's pop this out and then have a think about what we're going to do. Okay, another beautiful finish on this one. Yeah, so cutting down on the plasticizer seems to have helped somewhat. Counterintuitively, eh? Very good. Alright, okay, so I can't carry on with this now. Not as is. We're too cold, and the worst thing that can happen with this is I get defects or a weak piece without actually realising it, which is exactly what will happen if one of my pores get frozen. Yeah, I might not realise how badly it's affected it. So we're going to stop this for today. We've got about halfway on the first batch. There's another 8 of these ones to do. No, seven. How many have we got here? Yeah, there are 5 there. We've got to do 7 more of these, and then a couple of the 6-foot roof sections. They're actually 7 foot, but they give us a usable space of 6 foot. You know, you can see the rebar shoved up here, and then this will be the end of the first batch. Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe we'll use them before March. I don't know. Either way, this is the last of my rebar anyway, so I've got to get some more rebar, and most importantly we've got to figure out a way to do those last few in the freezing cold on this concrete bench. I'm going to make a little tent up and some what? Sort of a hoarfrost we're getting, but there is we're forecast sort of -3 at the end of the week, which I know isn't a big deal for most of you out there, but it's a big deal for the concrete, isn't it? So we've got to figure out some sort of. I'm just liking the idea of making some simple paraffin heaters, just like bean tins or something. Maybe I'll do a little video on them if they come out nice. So we'll make a tent and then carry on with this. So it's going to end up being a 2-parter. Yeah, first batch. Well, I mean, that's the end of the batch, isn't it, if we're going to stop it? Yes. Batch 1.1, yeah? Batch 1.1 of the concrete pour is complete. We've done a bit of learning, as always. It always feels good, doesn't it, eh? Got the surface finish nice enough. They're usable. I mean, they're probably stronger, to be honest, but yeah, lovely, good stuff. So we'll finish casting these and start on the waterproofing next time, if we get some fair weather. yeah, I'll talk you through what I'm going to do with waterproofing. It's going to be several stages, and we're not looking to get it absolutely tanked. We just want to keep the worst of the water away from our rebar and to prevent it coming in. Skin drains. Go on, bugger off. Okay. Alright folks, I'll see you later then. Take it easy, hope you enjoyed that. Yeah. Have a nice week. Alright, cheerio.